Hello friends, and welcome back to another Sunday with Sarah. It has been a long time since I've been with you in this space, and I apologize for my long absence. The last time I posted a video, I told you I was getting ready to leave on a 2-week African adventure, and and I was hoping to come back in 2 weeks with lots of stories to share with you, and I do have all those stories. But I'm afraid when I got back, I had so much work to catch up on, having been gone for 2 weeks, and then my lovely assistant, Sarah Anderson, left on her own 2-week vacation. I had my hands full. But finally, things are getting back to normal, and here I am. It's midsummer, happy summer, and today I want to share with you a little bit about my trip. There's more to tell you than is time for in one video, but I'll be back next week with more. But today I want to tell you about my visit to the Waldorf School for the Samburu children that I mentioned before I left, one of the highlights of my trip. The Samburu people live in the northern region of Kenya, north of Nairobi, in a region called Laikipia, where we were. And I visited the school with the school's founder, a lovely young woman named Julia Francombe, who is the founder of a nonprofit organization called the Samburu Trust, whose mission is to provide health aid and education to the Samburu people, among other things. And she was very generous with her time to take me to visit the school. So we left one morning to visit the school from the lodge that Julia's family owns, where we were staying. And it was about a half-hour walk, actually closer to 40 minutes, through the bush. And we had to walk with a guide and a ranger who carried a big rifle in case we met lions or other predators along the way. Really an adventure. And I learned that the children walk an hour and a half each way to school, to and from school from their village. It's quite a commitment. When we arrived, we were visiting the grade school, which is in a separate location from the kindergarten. And right now they have a first and second grade housed in 2 little huts, thatch-roofed huts. And when we arrived, teachers were outside with the children. The children were jumping rope and playing games, and they seemed a little bit shy and timid meeting us, but very curious. And the teachers were young men. And this is one of the most fascinating things I learned about the school, is that all the teachers are Samburu warriors. In the Samburu culture, all young men between the ages of 18 and 28 become warriors, and traditionally their job is to defend the village, and in times past their job was to raid other villages' cattle. And this was really interesting to me. What I learned was that in their culture, women are not respected as authorities. So that was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, but I was told that they believed, children wouldn't behave with a woman teacher. It was not the role, that kind of role for women in their society. But it sounds like there's a movement toward changing that. It's one of the many things that I want to learn more about, but during my time there I had a lot to learn about the differences in their culture. But the incredible thing was how enthusiastic these young men were about the children and about teaching, and how much joy they brought to their teaching. And as soon as I arrived, the first grade teacher almost immediately asked me what songs I knew, what songs I could share with him and the children. And feeling a little unprepared, I pulled a few songs out of my hat and sang with them, and they tried joining in with me, and the teacher asked me to write them down for him. So there's been Waldorf teacher training for them in Kenya, and teachers are in various stages of their training, and I'm not quite clear about if all of them are still in training or if one maybe has completed the training, but they're very enthusiastic about what they're doing and what they're learning. And I saw them singing with the children and playing clapping games and skipping around their classroom. It was really a joy to behold. So later on, Julia took me to the other location to visit the kindergarten. And the kindergarten classrooms, again, thatched roofs, bigger spaces, oval shaped, no walls, open walls. The weather while I was there was just incredibly beautiful. It was after the end of the rainy season and very temperate, warm and dry during the day, cool in the morning and at night. And I came bearing gifts from Bella Luna Toys, donations for the school, and it was so much fun. I felt like Santa Claus, presenting them with these toys and just seeing their faces as I pulled things out. I brought them a dozen play silks because Julie told me it's very difficult to get silk in Africa, and how much she would love to have a collection of play silks for the children. So I brought silks in all different colors and a rainbow play silk, and handed one to each child. They immediately began putting them on as capes and skirts, and I brought a little baby doll, a dark-skinned baby doll that we had, and one of the girls immediately took the doll and one of the silks and tied it to her back as their mothers carry babies in their village, and that was fun to see. I brought a wool felt crown, and I was wondering if they could relate to that. I imagine they didn't have stories as we do in the West of kings and queens. And so one little boy took the crown and he immediately put it on, but upside down with the points pointed down. And I've got a picture of that for you. And I brought them horsey reins, the leather reins. One loop goes over a child's head, and the others wrap behind the back, and so you have a horse and a rider. And because the Samburu are a herding culture, they're pastoralists, and they raise cows. That's their whole means of livelihood is livestock. And I learned that in their culture, a man is rich by how many cows he has, not how much money he has. But so anyway, the children knew right away what to do with the reins. And it turns out they had a homemade pair in their classroom already, which they got out. So the children put on their reins and started galloping around the classroom with silks flying and crowns on. And it was really such a pleasure. And I had lunch with them afterwards, and I learned they eat with their hands. And Julia told me initially in the early years of the school, they tried to teach them to eat with a spoon and a bowl. But as she went along, she really learned to adapt the school to their own culture. And they send the children come to school. Their lunchbox is a plastic, kind of like a yogurt container that I believe they put handles on. They bring that to school in the morning. The teachers fill up their containers with rice or beans and send the children home. At the end of the day, it's half full to bring the rest of the food back to their families. But the really interesting thing, one of the many interesting things about the school is that these are nomadic people, and they don't stay in one place permanently. So the children come to school for 3 moons. And Julia told me it was literally 3 moons, not 3 months, but after the 3rd full moon, they pack up their whole villages, move their houses, their cattle, families, everything to the next location, looking for more water for their cattle. And I also learned there are 3 different groups that will come to be educated at the school throughout the year. Each come for 3 moons before moving on. And truthfully, there's still a lot I don't understand. I've been back, I've been reading books, I've been reading more about the Samburu and the closely related Maasai people, whose villages we visited, Maasai villages and Samburu villages, and just so very interesting to meet these people, meet the children, meet the teachers. So Julia, the school is funded by the Samburu Trust, which is a nonprofit that Julia Francombe founded to bring health care and education to the Samburu people. And they were so appreciative of my donation of toys. And I know they would be so grateful for any donations to support the work of the school. The children pay no tuition to be able to attend the school. The parents and the villagers are so appreciative. And the goal of the school is to give these children basic literacy and numeracy skills. Teach them to learn to read and write and to do basic math skills. Julie explained most of them, when they get older, will go on to herd the cattle and do the work of their village, but her goal is to provide them with those basic skills. So if you're interested in sending a donation to the school, I would be appreciative, they would be appreciative, and you can visit their website at samburutrust.org. I'll post the link on the blog. And you can visit there and read Julia's blog and learn more about the evolution of the school, see more pictures, and learn about the work there. So thanks so much for tuning in. It's so great to be back with you again. I'll be with you next week with my impressions of a visit to a very different school in the slums of Nairobi. So until then, hope you're enjoying the summer. Have fun. See you next week. Bye-bye.